Welcome to Universal Journey Talk, spreading positive energy.
I'm Kirk with my brother Eric and my other brother Ian. Like we had on the last episode, my other brother Heath isn't able to make it today. We kind of we had fun with the last one that we did with the brothers special edition. So we've kind of figured we'd kind of keep going along this lines. So basically, I'm a real big cinema fan, especially of the monsters and all that stuff. So we got King Kong versus Godzilla is coming out, I believe tomorrow actually in theaters and straight to streaming, I think too. But anyway, so one of the things that I really thought that kind of caught my attention, which I've heard of but never really like looked into it that much, is the movie kind of delves into the theory of the Hollow Earth theory, which I think that's kind of like along the lines of kind of like what our channel is about, kind of going into different things, realms and ideas and things like that. So I found that to be kind of interesting. Like I said, once again, I don't know that much about it. But apparently, I think even was it Journey to the Center of the Earth is an older movie, and I think that delves in that as well. And so I looked up a little bit of it, and the person that came up with the theory, I think he was a scientist. This is going back, I forget, it was like 1800s maybe or something like that. And he kind of brought the whole theory up, and one of the things that he was saying, and I can't even remember the guy's name right now. I should have wrote a note, but anyway, that there is according to his calculations and studies, that there is a huge hole in the top of our planet, at the North Pole, and apparently we're once again, like, the governments or whatever aren't allowing us to go to actually go up there. I guess it's blocked off or something like that, and then this hole supposedly goes right down into the center of the Earth. Now, there's also other theories about how to get to the center of the Earth, or more of the idea that the Earth is not just layered in with like one layer of rocks and then the magma or whatever it is and stuff. That it has holes in it, holes or open vast amounts of space underneath our surface. Now, so I once again, I just did like a little quick thing on Google, and if I got it right, it's from the surface from our surface going up to the sky, it's about 70 miles of space, okay? And if you were to dig a hole from our surface to the center of the Earth, it would be about 4,000 miles down. So if you kind of think about that, here it is, we live, on the surface of the Earth, and we have about 70 miles of space to work with. If you were to go down in layers and layers and layers underneath the Earth, you could fit multiple times of our civilizations going down, like 70 miles and then another 70 miles or another 70 miles, like that. So it is, intriguing to think that, that there could be life or even whole civilizations. I think there's things about that with even like Atlantis, maybe that they retreated back into there. There's a lot of different theories I've been kind of hearing about it, but so I think, Eric, you have been looking into this these things a little bit more, and I think this kind of ties into a lot of some of your theories. I don't know if you wanted to say something about it.
Well, I was just saying, when you were talking about, I heard many things, but and Admiral Byrd, I showed you some things, but he's like the greatest proclaimed, Air Force,
Pilot,
pilot,
right?
Ever, you know what I mean? And this guy, he did some, great thing, and explorations. Then even he said he wrote in his own diary, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying, like, how the government won't bring certain things out, and regardless, but it's like he wrote that he flew into that hole that you're talking about,
Okay.
and many other people, like there's pictures of that hole. You can even see it from satellite. You know what I mean? And pilots, even like just from airplane pilots, when they're flying, that they're not allowed. It's no fly zone. You're not allowed to go around that hole. And many of them pilots can see it. They'll tell you that, but you're not allowed. And there's really no explanation. You're not allowed to go fly around that area. But there's pilots that talk about like they can actually see the hole and they fly around it. You know what I mean? And so it's not even like it's so much as a theory as it is. Well, it's actually right there. You know what I mean? And there's many pilots to like can attest to that. You know what I mean? And Bird in his journal, he wrote that he flew into it. You know what I mean? and it goes deeper than that, where it would sound crazy, but if anyone like Admiral Byrd is a very reputable person, by the government. He was never proclaimed as a crazy man or anything like that. You know what I mean? And that was in his journal, and how he even met, a civilization down there, because he was flying and his plane is like a magnet. They had him fly into the hole, and they were telling him how you need to tell your your leaders and stuff, like they need to stop doing what they're doing on the planet and change because they're destroying it and it's becoming a real issue. But we've heard many other theories and things similar to like this. You know what I mean? So it's something that definitely worth looking into. And rather than just dismiss it as if it was just nothing, because like you said, there's so many things unknown. Look at the ocean. I mean, to think we haven't even we literally just skimmed the surface. We can't, with all this technology that we have, we still can't even go anywhere close to the bottom of the abyss.
Okay, well, hey, okay, I like where you're going with that. But before we start going on to that, let me get Ian's take on this. All right, so I just did a quick little shift right here. All right, so anyway, once again, talking about Hollow Earth. So let's take it back to Ian now.
Yeah, well, first of all, again, I am not going to say I'm any expert or anything like that on Hollow Earth or Flat Earth for that matter, or Square Earth, Triangle Earth. I don't know. Seems nowadays every other day comes Smurf Earth, maybe. I don't know. Whatever seems to be is in our imagination, we can come up with some sort of somebody who had a dream or flew over a hole or did something. So I don't think it's out of any ordinary or anything sensational to be a little skeptical in the first place about that. But just for argument's sake, Hollow Earth causes a lot of physics questions for me.
Right.
That makes things very, very hard, especially when you start to say that, okay, listen, a giant hole or something like that you flew over or something like that, well, there's a lot of holes, and there's a lot of volcanoes, and there's a lot of things of that nature. But if you're saying it's something special and it's something reputable, to our knowledge, the deepest hole ever dug, anyway, was the Kola Super Deep hole in Russia, which
it's a borehole, right?
That's the furthest deep hole that they ever dug, which went 12 kilometers, pretty far. It's like about the size of Manhattan, more or less. And but ultimately they got too hot. That's what stopped them. It got to 180 degrees, Celsius, and they, or Fahrenheit, one or the other, and it just became too much. Fahrenheit, actually, and it just became, everything was cooking up. So already that would sort of, to me, sense that, okay, now because it's 180 degrees, what kind of people would be down in a 180 degree environment and where that would be livable, inhabitable? Are they fire people? Are they lava-like in some things? And some people may say, oh no, but just like the Eskimo, who can become more acclimatized to cold weather, then perhaps we can. Okay, all right. Doesn't make much sense to me because heat works a different way, but whatever. Then I have to say, what about if there's a civilization in there? I'm going to show you a little diagram. Okay? So, what happens to us as we get closer? As we get closer from, so this is us on the surface. As we get closer to the center, what happens to gravity? Are they floating people all in there? Because we know at the center, which way, ultimately, you have people, which way is gravity pulling?
Gotcha.
So you have a civilization that's now floating as you get closer towards the center of the universe. So you have floating people. Do they all have jetpacks too to control themselves, or what? It causes so many questions when you talk about living in an environment that would be at the center of a controlled environment. We're also not forget the eventuality of not having a metal core to some degree, as we know metals. We know from having magnets that are used for magnetism, North Pole, South Pole. If we're talking no core, what's to stop the Earth from solar flares and from all these different things that would be affected, even just to keep people on the ground to do anything? It's just it causes way too many questions.
All right. Well, how about this
then? I know a
then?
lot about it, but physics, and gravity, those are some things that just doesn't seem rational to construct a society in.
Okay.
Not to mention we'd all become poisonous and burn up.
All right. Well, how about this? I think from some of the, like I said, some of the stuff I looked up, the idea of at least one of them is that, okay, if you take like, pretty cool on you to take the time to actually draw up, all your stuff to make a good visual presentation. So, okay, how about this? Kind of like in the same way. Let me do my quick thing. I should have done that myself. But I guess some of the concept, and once again, what do I know about physics? It's kind of like, okay, wait, can we see this here? All right. So if we have the planet, all right, and we have the surface or whatever, then it's like, yeah, let's say like this far in or whatever, let's say all this is still like Earth. There may be like some pockets or something like that. I don't know. But I think one of the ones I saw is that like, now, as you were saying, like it gets really, really hot, but then eventually it starts to get cold again. Like it's almost like lava is all around the edge, and then wait, hold on. So you got lava all around the edge, and then it comes up every so often, like it does in volcanoes. But anyway, at least the one that I saw was like now in the center is almost like where there's like, I don't want to say it's like a star, but it's like gases that create light and energy and stuff like that, and then the people are actually, let's say, if this whole section is open and this is the illuminating gases, so they can see, in there, in the center, all the people live on here, but they're actually standing upside down, because gravity is almost reversed, as you're saying, as it's pulling in. So that's the kind of the concepts where all the people are living, where we're on the top. And we're standing like this way, they're on the inside, and they're standing all around this gassy, that gives off the light, and then they have plenty of room, and then plantation, every other thing, lakes and rivers
what
grow.
What happens on the inside of that circle? If they fly across from one side to the other with gravity pulling it extensively so that they stay to the surface. What happens when you get to the center, right?
Yeah, I got you.
Through the center of that planet. Which gravity's winning?
Right. Well, for one thing, you wouldn't be able to go straight. You wouldn't be able to go straight through because you'd burn up in the sun. That's in the middle. So you'd have to go around the sun anyway. So you can't ever really get to the middle because that's where the gassy ball of flame is that illuminates everything and gives life and energy on the inside. So you'd have to go around it. And I guess you couldn't get too close to it either because you'd burn up because it's almost like a star, in the center.
Okay, so I get that, but even then, its circumference would still have to be so extensive because as I got closer, the gravitational pull from the other side of from the inside, how large is that whatever it is that you're talking about, that core that emits because it would need to encompass such a large space in order to, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you could still kind of fly around it. Which gravity is still, when does gravity begin and end?
Okay, well, the way that I would make sense of it is like this. Whatever side you are, that's where the gravity is going to be the strongest. So you'll always stay wherever you are. Now, once you start to get close toward the middle, then that's where gravity gets really, really light. But either way, whatever side you're closest to, that's the side where the gravity is going to be the strongest. So, you can't fall into the center because the gravity is strongest toward the edges. So once you know what I mean?
So you're saying there's a place in the Earth, there's space that we can't get to, no matter what.
Well, that's the whole concept.
You know how we can fly airplanes or whatever and get closer to the atmosphere, right? To
Right.
go beyond it.
Right.
They essentially have no atmosphere. So they would be more or less kind of only stuck on the ground itself.
Yeah, well, I
They would
mean,
have to work
well,
outward.
there would be air in there, to breathe. So an atmosphere would be there, except they wouldn't have a sky per se, because there is no sky. There's only the center, So if they're living all around on the inside, there is no actual sky. It's all,
Why do you think there's no sky?
Thanks for watching this segment of the full episode to be posted Sunday afternoon. Much more to be discussed in the next part, so give this video a like, leave your comments for us to reply to in future episodes, and stay notified by hitting the subscribe button.